What's up, people? Thanks for watching. Today we're going to take a look at this bad boy. Oh, I need to do a squat to lift it, it's so heavy. This is the M40A5. So, let's try to get this whole thing in frame. This is a very long rifle, and part of this is actually this attachment that's on the end here. You can actually, this is a threaded barrel, so you can actually pull this right off. And this is just supposed to duplicate like a, what would you call it, not a flash suppressor, muzzle brake. So on a real firearm, this would project the gases. They kind of hit the corner of this as they're coming out after the bullet, and it's going to pull the rifle forward. So it's a way of mitigating recoil. And then you've got these two little holes right here, and on a semi-auto, it's rather strange to have another bolt action if I'm being 100% honest. But what it's going to do is it's going to push that muzzle rise down. So it's pretty cool to have it on there. It just looks haphazard because it doesn't quite fit. It's like the threading is a little bit short here, so a little bit strange, but you can always pull this off and put a suppressor on there, or just cut it off and just have it be more functional and shorter. I would go with that. In terms of the externals, let's do that. So this is all metal, and this is metal as well. And then we've got actually a Picatinny rail, which is on the right hand side, and the top for your accessories. And this is aluminum, so this is metal. The barrel here, all metal. The internals are metal, and it actually has upgraded PDI internals for the trigger group, the sears, and some other things associated with. I'm not sure, I guess, if the piston is metal, but the trigger group is. Going back here, so this is another Picatinny rail for the scope, accessories. It's got QD mounts on each side here, and on the flip side right there. Same for the butt end, for the stock right here. And it's actually got plates here to adjust the length of pull, which is how far from your shoulder to your trigger, essentially. And for somebody that's smaller, shorter, you can take some of these out and make this a little bit shorter. It's also got a cheek rise right here, which is for another point of contact, and especially with the scope, your head's going to be a little bit higher, so sometimes it's not touching the stock. So it just gives it a little bit extra stability and a little bit more adjustability, which is really cool. It's a nice little feature. How useful that is? Well, that really depends. With a real firearm, it's going to be very, very useful. With airsoft, maybe moderately useful, but it's a nice little replica. In terms of the stock, it is polymer. I think it's nylon polymer, but it is hefty. This thing just feels really solid. Like you could use it as a battering ram, bust down a door or something. I don't know how serious you take your milsim, but you could definitely use it for that. You run out of ammo, whack your friend with it, tag you're out. I don't know. Let's see here. Thinking of some other things we can talk about. So it does have a little bipod mount, and you could put a Harris on there or be ridiculous and put an Atlas on there. I don't know if Atlas does it with these. I think usually they use a Picatinny rail, but that's outside of the scope of this video. Going with the aesthetics of this thing, I should say more of the functional element of this thing. The grip is super thick. It's actually kind of uncomfortably thick. I can't even get my full hand around that thing. And it, I guess, goes with the theme of the stock, where it's very blocky and thick. So something to keep in mind, I guess. Hefty in every way. It's heavy, it's thick, it's highly modifiable. And then this looks like the magazine, right? And on the real thing it would be, but this is pure aesthetics. This serves no functional purpose on this firearm. In the real one, you push this and then this would pop out. The actual magazine is in the front. It's more like the VSR style. So you got a little button, push the button, out it comes, and it's the standard Wells MB, just M40. We push this down, and BBs going in there. And the only point of this is it helps it pop out when you press the button, so you don't try to pull it out. I found that with this, the best way to actually fill it is you put your fingers on either side of this, and then you just take the speed loader and pop it in there. Holds 24 BBs. So if you're gonna be playing a game, I'd say get a few of those magazines. And for the functional elements of this rifle, one, the trigger group, as I said, is upgraded, PDI internals. And it's actually pretty nice. With the scale, I weighted it at a 4-pound trigger pull. One of the weird things is it feels like it's not activated. So right now, the trigger is active. There is no BBs in here, mind you, especially since the magazine's down there. But you can see it's floppy. It's floppy, and I don't particularly love that. But once you get to the wall is 100% solid, and it breaks crisp. Really crisp. Not the quietest thing, as you can hear, but mush and then super crisp. So nice trigger. I do like the trigger on it. In terms of FPS, this thing chronos right at 460. It does come in the box with an upgraded spring that'll put it up around 500 or over 500. And when it comes to hop up, I'm going to show you how you adjust it. So the hop up is the thing that drives me absolutely nuts, and the reason I am not keeping this rifle at all. Instead of having one screw, you've got two little Allen wrench. You've got to take a little Allen wrench, and on either side of that groove, that's what you adjust. So let me tell you why it's annoying, why it's completely obnoxious. In theory, what you're doing is a BB could go left, it could go right, it could go down, it could go up in some gradient there on the XY axis. Every single airsoft gun I've ever had, let me take my glasses off, I hate that reflection. The BB's gone straight. There really hasn't been deviation to the right or to the left, variant on or dependent on the airsoft gun. Wind, things of that nature, yeah, it'll go right, left. But they've always gone straight. So in theory, if there is that deviation, then when you have two screws, you can modify one or the other to correct either to the left or to the right. In practice, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't happen, at least not in my experience. And what ends up happening with that fine tuning is it's really hard to make sure that you're adjusting each one correctly in sync with the other one, so you don't end up artificially creating right or left deviation. Yesterday, I was ready to pull what hair I have left out of my head because every time I would adjust one, then it would start shooting the other way. It was super hard to adjust. So if you take the time and have the energy to be really diligent and do maybe very short quarter or eighth turn on each one, start at the exact same level, then maybe it'll work for you. For me, it was just an exercise in frustration. How far was it able to shoot? Well, I was able to shoot about 50 meters with absolutely no hop. It was kind of surprising, pretty good. Once I started finicking with the hop, it was doing all right, but it was fairly erratic, as I said, and I never really got it to a point where I felt comfortable with it being more accurate than my stubby little M4 that cost $100. So you're lugging something that heavy around. You want it to be precise and to be able to reach beyond AEG distances. This one, unfortunately, was not. However, there is an upgrade spring in the box that came with this. So you can pull it apart and put a 500 FPS spring in there or more. I haven't tested it, so I don't really know what it is. That could get it out farther. And again, with the adjustment of the hop up, you might be able to work some magic or just pull that ridiculous hop up out of there and put something else in there that's easier to adjust, like the VSR 10 platform that just adjusts on the side. You can adjust on the fly. It's fantastic. So that's my beef with it. The weight of it, the length of it, and how the hop up adjusts on this thing are definite cons. The pros to it, there's a lot of adjustability with the stock. It's super durable feeling and solid feeling. And there is a decent amount of upgrades you can do with this thing. So that's the review. That's what I've got for you today. And in terms of What to do with this thing, I'm probably going to sell it, I'll be perfectly honest. So you make your decisions, and I hope you find this information helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless you.